Let's just cut to the chase. Star Wars The Force Unleashed deserves a remake. It's been 16 years since the original, and games that doesn't really need or deserve the remake are getting remakes anyway. It's high time something that actually deserves a remake being remade, especially with, you know, how Star Wars is right now. It needed that jolt that the Force Unleashed remake can bring into the table, especially now that the KOTOR remake is dead. I firmly believe that games that were flawed but has potential deserves a remake more than games that were already great in the first place, which is why the Horizon remake rumors infuriates me. But, of course, publishers usually don't think that way. They only remake games that were already great and successful in the first place because that's the safe bet. Never mind the potential of starting a new IP with that flawed game if the remake was successful. And I very much believe that the Force Unleashed sub-series has so many amazing potential that it deserves another chance. Star Wars The Force Unleashed was a flawed but still fun game, with a Death Star load of technical issues and lost potential, because the technology at the time simply weren't up to the task, creating really freaky but funny physics situations, and hyper blow the hard disk requirements at the time, if you were playing on PC. The gameplay is also simplistic and lacks the nuance of its contemporaries, but man, does it excel at being the Forest game. And does have a pretty decent story, even if it does ravage the canon and feel a bit fanficky at times. But what does that matter anyway at this point? There's no game, even in today's age, that rivals the freedom of using the Force in The Force Unleashed, and that's a shame, because unrestricted use of the Force including the dark side powers are pretty fun, even with all the jank. It's like as if Psyops came back from the dead in another form. With today's technology though, the problems of yesterday becomes nothing, and the Force can finally be unleashed at its full potential, without the inherent jankiness of the original, and become more polished and focused. This is a game where you can wield the full power of Darth Vader, and really see how strong he is in the very first mission, with him shooting freaking Hadoukens to do his force push and wreak havoc on the Wookiees. Oh yeah, on that note, The Force Unleashed was unabashedly anime inspired even before the actual Star Wars anime came out. And I feel like they should lean more into the anime stylings without any shame, with even more kinetic animation to sell the attacks, and more over the top sequences like the one concept art where Starkiller cuts an AT-AT in half. And also making the Force more visibly anime inspired, where you can have like Force push struggles rather than just Force lightning struggles. For example, if you both do force pushes at the same time, it'll create an explosive shockwave at the point of contact. But if you charge it first, your force push will win out, unless you're also charging it. Then everything, including Starkiller and the hostile force user, gets blown away. Another thing that they should add is a witch time mechanic. Force users were already known to be able to go extremely fast like Sonic, and this can be replicated with a witch time mechanic, where time slows down every time you perfect dodge an attack. With the leniency depending on the difficulty, it'll make combat feel more smooth, and allows you to do even more cool shit in the frozen time. I mean, Cal Kestis can already do it by actually slowing down time in an area, so why not Starkiller? Just going so fast that the world goes slow-mo? It allows the Force to be more engaging to use, and more visibly awesome to witness, which adds to the power fantasy of being a supremely powerful Force user. The other thing that needs an upgrade is the non-Force stuff, like the lightsaber gameplay. And yes, before you guys say it, I do prefer if we can cut enemies realistically, Metal Gear Rising Jedi Outcast style, but that's just not possible with how Disney is right now. But if we're talking about hypotheticals, I don't want every enemy to die in one slash. They'll make the game extremely boring. They should get dismembered when their health runs out, and with that away, let's get to the real meat. The lightsaber combat, while not exactly bad, is quite simplistic, kinda jank, and requires more meat to it, like more combos to string, real launchers, and enemies that can actually withstand your onslaught and fight back instead of just awkwardly flailing at you. But I do have to say though, the core fundamentals were already there for a really great character action game, but unfortunately, it just didn't quite reach it. It's still fine, but it could have been so much more. And while the original game mostly excels when you're fighting standard stormtroopers, which are basically non-problems and toys for you to play with, Mostly because the ones that can actually put up a fight at close range can make the fight quite janky fast thanks to the physics. This is why, in the hypothetical remake, with the physics fix, I would like the remake to change the basic combat encounters by making the melee troopers more like those basic enemies that you fight in a character action game that gets upgraded as you go through the game, and making the standard Blazing Stormtroopers still toys for you to play with and chuck around at tougher enemy types to disorient them. And make them die in one hit from your melee attacks please, because no one likes having ranged enemies that take spot shots at you actually being hard to kill. Another thing that I would like for them to add are weapons. Even if it is blasphemy to have more than the traditional lightsaber in a Jedi-centric game, having things like a staff, lightsaber tonfas, or even force-enhanced fists will make the game even better, as you are given more tools to deal and style on the baddies. Especially because even in the original you can do round trips with your lightsaber. So what's stopping Starkiller from throwing hands while his lightsaber goes ape shit on another enemy? And make the weapon switch instant, so you can switch them out mid-combo. It'll give the player more tools to play around with, and increases the power fantasy of being an extremely powerful Jedi Sith, which is what the game aims to be. Of course, a combo style meter is required. Maybe you get more force gauge the better you're doing, so you get that extra incentive to play even better, and have your style be graded in every level, which will encourage your playability. The higher you score, the better the rewards. And also, allow us to play as another character that has a different playstyle like Darth Vader. It doesn't have to be connected to the story, it's just there for the fun of it, like how you can play as Virgil through games in 3, 4, and 5, and have it be graded differently per character too. The boss fights also needs to glow up, as they can very often turn into a ragdoll mess of a fight, instead of an intense duel between masters or colossal battles where they test everything you've learned so far. They can change this by making you only able to use force grip on bosses that are tired out by you breaking their stun gauge. Yes, I'm taking notes from Neo and Sekiro. Then you are free to chuck them anywhere, or do a big enhanced freeform combo to your heart's desire until they recover, which has the highest damage and style potential, but requires skill to do. Or use a cinematic attack against them that will critically damage them in a surefire way, but not as much as the freeform combo one. Things like that. I don't know, it's not my job to do that. Unless they want me to. Call me LucasArts. Or better yet, just call Platinum Games or Capcom. I'm sure they'd be up to the task. And if you're asking, wasn't there a second game? I'd be telling you, no, there wasn't a second game. What the hell are you talking about? For the story, I think it's fine. There's no need to change it, except combining the canon DLC into the main campaign, keeping the Dark Side DLC intact, and also adding more over-the-top anime sequences. But they better keep Sam Witwer as Starkiller, because he's pretty much Starkiller. It would be a great loss if he got recasted. So yeah, just a little video on a game that's mostly forgotten about now, but has so much untapped potential that it needed a second chance to shine. Anyway, thank you for watching, like, share, and subscribe. I don't know how to end this, so catch you later.